In the world of technology, there are names that don't just create products, but ignite entire waves of change. Apple, with the iPhone, is a prime example. Since 2007, this device has redefined the concept of a smartphone and become an icon of a connected era. But now, another name is making the entire industry sit up and take notice: Tesla. And the question that has been stirring the tech community in recent months is Tesla preparing to launch an iPhone killer? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. It's no coincidence that rumors about a Tesla phone have exploded. From YouTube videos titled "PiPhone 2025, iPhone Killer for only $299" to analytical articles speculating that Elon Musk will take direct aim at Apple, everything has contributed to making this story a hot topic. Every time Musk hints on X, formerly Twitter, about making a phone if necessary, the community goes into a frenzy, with many even convinced that the launch day is near. But here's the harsh truth: Tesla has never officially announced any smartphone model. There has been no launch event, no verified leaked images, no mobile device certification filings under the Tesla name. So why do the rumors still spread like wildfire? The reason lies in two factors: Elon Musk's image as a tech rule breaker and a technology that is truly changing the game: Starlink direct-to-cell. Starlink direct-to-cell, DDC, is not some far-fetched idea, it's a real breakthrough that has already begun commercial operations. Imagine this: you're in the middle of a mountain with no signal, or out at sea, and you can still send messages as if you were in the heart of the city. All your phone needs is LTE, no new device, no special antenna required. This isn't a limited emergency SOS feature with just a few short messages like the iPhone offers, it's a full-fledged satellite network service integrated into the mobile infrastructure you already use. And this is precisely the crux of the shock factor: if one day Tesla truly launches its own phone, it wouldn't need to rely on traditional carriers or cell tower infrastructure like other smartphone makers. Instead, it could integrate Starlink DDC at its core, turning the phone into a signal always-on device, regardless of geographic location. This would essentially eliminate one of the biggest limitations of mobile technology today: coverage range. But to answer the question, does Tesla truly want to and can it destroy the iPhone, we need to peel back several layers of information. First, it's important to understand that Apple doesn't just sell a phone, it sells a closed ecosystem where hardware, software, and services blend seamlessly to create an almost unbreakable bond with its users. Beating the iPhone is not simply about offering better specs or a cheaper price, it requires creating a compelling enough reason for people to leave behind the entire Apple world they've grown attached to. Elon Musk is no stranger to impossible missions. From transforming Tesla from an electric vehicle startup into the most valuable car maker in the world, to SpaceX successfully landing reusable rockets, to deploying thousands of Starlink satellites across the globe, all prove that he isn't afraid to break old rules. But smartphones are a different battlefield, one where many giants have already fallen: Microsoft with Windows Phone, Amazon with the Fire Phone, and countless once famous brands that have vanished from the mobile map. So, if Tesla truly joins the fight, what path would it choose? Would it create a Tesla phone with its own operating system, its own app store, and native Starlink connectivity? Or would it partner with carriers, offering Starlink DDC service to every phone, turning Apple and Samsung into unwilling allies? The iPhone killer story, therefore, is not simply about a new product, it's a strategic question: innovate at the device layer, or innovate at the infrastructure layer. And sometimes, a shift in infrastructure can have a far greater impact than any single phone ever could. The origin and power of the Tesla phone rumors. Elon Musk, the spark igniter. To understand why the Tesla phone rumor has spread like wildfire, we have to start with Elon Musk himself. He's the kind of person whose every statement, no matter how offhand on X, formerly Twitter, can shake markets. Musk has, on multiple occasions, said in podcasts or interviews that Tesla might produce a smartphone if Apple or Google were to block his apps or platforms. That alone was enough for the internet to start weaving all kinds of scenarios. Tesla would create a low-cost Pi phone with Starlink integration, run its own operating system, and even harness solar power. There's no hard evidence, but the magnetic pull of Musk's name, combined with his history of doing the impossible, makes the rumor feel almost plausible. Musk's history of media weaponry. Musk has a habit, dropping hints at the right moment to spark public discussion, then letting the community and the press do the rest of the work. This very strategy has kept Tesla and SpaceX constantly in the media spotlight without spending much on traditional advertising. 2016 spoke about plans to send humans to Mars, even though the technology wasn't ready. 2019 unveiled the Cybertruck with a shock factor design and a live demo of bulletproof glass, which shattered on stage. 2022 tweeted about the possibility of making a phone if Apple/Google were to kick Twitter off the App Store/Google Play. Each time, Musk lit a spark strong enough to keep the community talking for months. The Tesla phone is simply his latest spark. The power of the Tesla and Musk fan community. We can't ignore Musk's extremely loyal fan base, people who believe in his vision and are more than willing to promote his ideas for free. A concept video of the Tesla phone on YouTube can rack up millions of views in just a few days, even if it's entirely a 3D fantasy render. It's this community that has turned the Tesla phone from an offhand comment into a widely imagined reality, creating a kind of collective expectation and invisible pressure on other companies, especially Apple. Starlink direct-to-cell. The real reason Apple should worry: Starlink was already a game changer before smartphones. Before we talk about the Tesla phone, we have to look at Starlink, SpaceX's global satellite internet project. In just a few years, Starlink has deployed thousands of low Earth orbit, LEO, satellites covering every continent, bringing high-speed internet to places that once could only dream of stable connectivity. With direct-to-cell, DTC, Starlink has taken things to a whole new level. No dedicated satellite equipment is needed, an ordinary LTE phone can send messages via satellite. This is a huge leap forward because no changes to the phone's hardware are required. No large antenna is needed. It's directly integrated into existing mobile network infrastructure through roaming. Comparison with iPhone's satellite SOS. Apple introduced its satellite SOS feature with the iPhone 14, but it has major limitations. Works only in emergency situations. Requires the user to point the phone toward the satellite. Cannot send regular messages like when connected to a normal network. Starlink DTC, on the other hand, allows you to send messages as you normally would, and in the long run, will also support calls and data. This doesn't just catch up with Apple, it surpasses it in terms of coverage. Real-world deployment status. February 2025, DTC officially commercialized in the US and New Zealand. Partner network, T-Mobile, US, brands the service as T-Satellite, supporting over 60 phone models. 2025 to 2026 plan, expand to more countries, add support for voice calls and data access. This means that even if Tesla never makes a smartphone, it could still change the phone usage habits of hundreds of millions of people through Starlink DTC. The roadblocks to challenging the iPhone. Software ecosystem. the hardest wall to break. The iPhone's strength lies not only in its hardware but in the App Store and its ecosystem of services. iMessage, FaceTime, AirDrop, Apple Pay, Apple Watch, together form a net that keeps users locked in. If Tesla were to make a new phone, it would face key questions. Should it use Android, AOSP, or develop its own operating system? Without Google mobile services, would users accept a limited app ecosystem? Supply chain and manufacturing. Manufacturing smartphones is a brutal game with razor-thin profit margins. Apple, Samsung, and Chinese brands have spent decades perfecting their supply chains. Tesla would need a major manufacturing partner like Foxconn or Pegatron, and would face fierce competition over component pricing. Brand positioning. Tesla is a brand known for electric vehicles and renewable energy. Would stepping into smartphones dilute its focus? Would consumers see the Tesla phone as a piece of cutting-edge technology or merely an accessory for a Tesla car? Lessons from past failures. Microsoft once had a Windows Phone operating system praised for its user experience, but it failed due to a lack of apps. Amazon's Fire Phone also disappeared quickly, lacking a strong enough reason for users to switch. Possible scenarios in the next 12 to 24 months. Scenario 1, no Tesla phone, Starlink DDC as the trump card. Tesla and SpaceX focus on expanding DDC, partnering with multiple global carriers. Both iPhone and Android users benefit. This is the low-risk scenario, as Musk wouldn't be confronting Apple and Google directly. Scenario 2, Tesla phone as an iconic product. Tesla launches a limited edition smartphone with integrated DDC, long battery life, the Grok AI assistant, and deep integration with Tesla's ecosystem, cars, energy products, and the Optimus robot. The goal wouldn't be massive sales, but to create a media shockwave and put pressure on Apple. Scenario 3, conflict forces Tesla into the market. If Apple or Google were to impose strict restrictions on Musk's X app or other services, Tesla could launch a phone to maintain control over its platform. This would be a reluctant move, but one that could happen if the ecosystem war escalates. Strategic perspective, destruction doesn't always mean replacement. The question iPhone killer is sometimes misunderstood. In tech business, killing a product doesn't always mean erasing it from existence, it can also mean changing the rules of the game so much that the product loses its main competitive edge. If Starlink DDC becomes the new standard for global mobile networks, the iPhone's satellite connectivity feature would lose its exclusivity and its wow factor. Apple would be forced to find other ways to differentiate, and that, in itself, could be the indirect destruction that Tesla/SpaceX delivers. Market impact and long-term outlook. Users will benefit from having coverage everywhere without needing to buy a new phone. Carriers gain extra revenue from satellite services, but must share it with Starlink. Apple and Samsung face pressure to innovate in other features to keep loyal customers. Tech industry, the convergence trend between satellite infrastructure and mobile devices will accelerate. Looking back at the whole iPhone killer story with Tesla at the center, we realize something interesting. Sometimes, a revolutionary change doesn't have to come from a specific hardware product, but from a deeper shift at the infrastructure and experience level. Apple, with the iPhone, has dominated the smartphone market for nearly 2 decades by perfectly combining hardware, software, and an ecosystem of services. They have built a fortress so solid that many challengers, from Microsoft to Amazon, have tried to breach it and failed. Yet every fortress has a weak point, and the weak point of traditional smartphones is connectivity range. This is where Elon Musk and Starlink direct-to-cell come in. Without storming Apple's gates with a flashy Tesla phone, Musk is quietly changing the conditions of the battlefield. When every phone, from iPhones to Samsungs to Chinese brands, can connect seamlessly to satellites without new hardware, Apple's exclusive advantage in marketing satellite SOS will vanish. Users will start to see global connectivity as a given, just as they now see 4G or Wi-Fi as standard. Viewed literally, the Tesla phone's chances of success are far from easy. The iOS-Android ecosystem wall still stands tall, the smartphone market is growing slowly and is fiercely competitive, and the costs of manufacturing, distribution, and service support are massive burdens. Entering this space would require Tesla to have either a critical survival reason or a long-term plan that fully leverages Starlink's infrastructure advantage. Viewed figuratively, the Tesla phone already exists, in the form of Starlink DDC. The difference is that, instead of convincing people to abandon the iPhone, Musk is making the iPhone less special in certain ways. This is a strategy of changing the rules of the game rather than direct confrontation. We also have to acknowledge that Elon Musk is not just an engineer or a CEO, he's a storyteller, someone who knows how to turn an idea into a global narrative. The offhand remark "Tesla will make a phone if necessary" has been enough to generate millions of articles and videos, and to make Apple at least pay some attention. In the tech world, sometimes, when all it takes is planting doubt, the competitor already has to allocate resources for defense. So, can Tesla truly destroy the iPhone? The answer depends on how we define destroy. If it means wiping the iPhone completely off the market, very difficult, almost impossible in the near future. If it means stripping Apple of a key competitive advantage and forcing it to redefine its product, this is much more likely, and Starlink DDC is getting very close to that goal. From a market perspective, the greatest point of interest is the benefit to users. With Starlink DDC, billions of people will, for the first time, experience coverage everywhere without paying extra for a new device. This is a major social leap forward, especially in rural, remote areas or in emergency rescue operations. From a strategic perspective, Tesla/SpaceX would hold a share of the global mobile connectivity infrastructure, transforming itself from an electric car manufacturer into a true connectivity empire. In a world where data and connectivity are the lifeblood of the economy, this could be even more valuable than selling millions of smartphones. The iPhone killer story, therefore, is not simply a battle between two brands. It's proof of how technology can shift the balance of power, sometimes without a direct frontal assault, but through a change at the foundational layer. Apple will continue. Apple will remain strong, and the iPhone will continue to sell well. But if Starlink DDC becomes the standard, Apple will be forced to reinvent the reason why people choose them rather than relying solely on exclusive features. History shows that market leaders are rarely defeated by a slightly better product, but by an entirely new approach. The iPhone once did this to Nokia and BlackBerry, shifting from keypad phones to multi-touch screens paired with an app ecosystem. Today, Tesla/SpaceX may be preparing a similar infrastructure leap, not to replace the iPhone, but to redefine the very concept of mobile connectivity. Looking ahead, the question may no longer be will Tesla make a phone, but rather, when every phone can connect to satellites anywhere, who will control that infrastructure? And if the answer is Elon Musk and Starlink, then even if the iPhone survives, Apple will no longer stand alone at the top. To close this story, we can borrow Musk's own spirit. Sometimes, to win, you don't have to destroy your competitor. You just need to build a new road, one that everyone, including your competitor, will be forced to follow. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a